I don't know about you, Jeff. I'm just filled with so much Halloween candy that it was a struggle to wake up this morning, right? Like it was definitely that. But it's a new month. I truly believe that it's a clean slate for everybody. Some people
Absolutely.
say, hey, it's new month, new me. Topic today, let's talk about it. New month, maybe same me. Let's crush it today, Jeff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
I want to say good morning to Jenny. She's been number one this whole week, so we're so happy to see you out here. And yeah, let's do it. Let's get right into it. But
Let's do
Jeff, last night was definitely Halloween. I know things are definitely changing because we probably had like 5 kids come, and that was saying a lot. What
Yeah,
about you?
no, nobody. Seriously,
Yeah.
like I was saying, 2 weeks ago, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before, in the church parking lot, they had a trunk or treat, and the place was loaded. I mean, it was like going up to people's homes. They had all these blow up castles and ghoulies and everything, and lights all over places. Like generators going. It was hilarious, and all the kids, they looked like they had a lot of fun. But there was a lot of traffic in front of the house, so it was good, man, not bad. But they never came to the house.
Yeah, they didn't.
Not
We kept the lights on. I don't know if my dogs were kind of scaring them because they were barking, but
at
but like they were the kids that did come, they were so adorable, and we're just so happy to be part of that because as a kid growing up, your goal as an adult is to give like those full size chocolate bars or the full
yeah.
size bags of chips, right? You're like, forget the Halloween stuff. I'm gonna ball out when I'm as well. Everybody in the comments, how did your Halloween go? Let us know if your kids or yourself, you guys kind of dressed up as well. But Jeff, today I want to kind of talk about like it's a new month, it's a new mind shift, and for me, I was reading into habit trackers. I'm a
Mhm.
big person in believing in, hey, what's going on, Dan?
There
But
we go.
looking at habit trackers for myself, just to kind of measure out. And it's something that I'm working in progress, and I'm going to be building one today for myself and to actually track it. What is the first of every month for you, Jeff and Dan as well? What are some things that you guys review in your business and even in your personal life? Sorry.
Well, what for me, I look at last month, where I was, where I needed to be, whether or not I hit those goals and objectives, and then that's like a carryover. It's like sick time at work. You get to carry that over to the next month, and like vacation time as well. Well, the same thing happens with those goals and objectives. If you don't meet them, you're going to carry them over, and then you're going to write new goals and objectives for this month that we're in now, and you just start checking them off. So that's what I do. Did I meet all my goals and objectives last month? No. I talked many times about a finish line. In this business, there is no finish line. There's just extended goals and objectives, because that's what we need to do to succeed in this business. So
Awesome. What about you, Dan,
Interesting.
brother?
That's a good one. I'm looking every week at what I wanted to accomplish in the month and where I'm at and how I'm getting there and what I need to do to get there next. Beginning of every month, I typically look at what can I deploy in my personal life and business life? Like what one or two things, traits, skills can I work on for me to be better by the end of the month? And I typically focus on those. And it's come from the fact that if you get up every day and do everything you can towards your goals, I mean, you're going to succeed, whether it be this month, next month, personally, business, financially, it doesn't matter. You're going to succeed. And it's taking the opportunity to sit back and say, okay, if I missed last month, what did I miss?
Mhm.
And what are the audibles I should have called? Because I think we can all at least comprehend or have been part of, mid-month, you're like, it's not working, but you don't change anything towards the end of the month. Because it's kind of like a golf swing. I don't know if you guys have ever been at the top of your golf swing and you're like, this feels so wrong, but I'll fix it on the way down, right? And you never fix it on the way down, you shank it. And I think in life and business, there's certain things that happen to us and we reflect immediately. And on those reflection points, is when we got to make a change, right? We can't say, okay, well, you know what, I'll just correct it over the next couple of days till the end of the month. It's like, why are you not 75% through your goal by mid-month? What was it that was holding you back? Was there a skill you needed to learn? So maybe you take a day or two to learn that skill, and now you've amplified that productivity by 10-fold. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I'm doing weekly. At the beginning of each month, I decide on 2 books I want to read, and I decide on 2 skills I want to improve on. And then I make that kind of my goal for the month, plus all my business and personal goals on the other side.
Yeah, and you know, Dan, I like that's exactly what I kind of do as well. You know, like every month, the first of the month, I took really yesterday to kind of start planning for like this month as well, and just adding simple things. You know, and I think even like I think my stuff was more like in my personal life. You know, something as simple as making sure I take all my vitamins for 30 days. You know, or something that as simple as having a meatless Monday or having a fruit smoothie every day, right? And those are the little things. And one thing I've learned, especially reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, is that you want to make your habits so easy that you can't avoid them, right? Because let's say your goal is to start like a podcast or like a YouTube series. It's so daunting, right? To get that courage to do it. But if you start by, hey, maybe if I post like a 10 to 15-second clip every single day, then it kind of just adds up in the mountains. And one thing that I really like in terms of like business wise is, I don't know about you guys, but every first of the month, I like to clean up my emails. You know, my inbox, I clean that up, just make sure I'm starting on a fresh slate and I'm ready to go. And then another thing too is like, Dan, I've kind of learned this from you, is that prime yourself by talking to your customers. You know, like I talk to my customers weekly, but my conversation at the beginning of the month, whether it be customers, prospects, even my own team, it's different. You know, it's more personal focus. It's like, what are you guys kind of trying to accomplish for? Because as you guys kind of know, where all of us are experienced, I truly believe that once you can connect with somebody personally and you're congruent, then the business will come, right? So you never have to force the business coming. What do you guys kind of like in terms of like your own personal? I know Jeff, you said you want to get moving a little bit more this month, as you did on the weekend, and as well as with you, Dan. With everything that's kind of going on with you, but what are some tasks that you guys have assigned yourself specifically for November? Because I know you guys might say different things for it, but I'd love to get your thoughts on those.
Well, I'll just add something to what you said, Ryan, before we answer that. When I first started looking at podcasting, it was actually years ago that I first started looking at it. And I remember speaking to one of my mentors, and I said, how do you add something else to this ever-growing pile of things you need to do and not miss? Because consistency is the number one thing in life, like whether it be from what we're doing, consistency, or consistency in selling and prospecting and closing deals and being there for you. Like it's all consistency. Yeah. And he said, Dan, anytime you're going to do something new, it has to be so seamlessly integrated into your schedule. He goes, otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to do it for a week and then you're not going to do it. And so when he started his podcast, he had a 15-minute drive to work. His podcast was called Marketing from My Car. And he would get in his car, he'd turn on his iPhone and he'd start talking. When he got to work, he'd turn it off and he'd go in and he'd upload it. And that was his podcast. He says, I drive to work Monday to Friday. So it's not doing it. He goes, normally I'll listen to the radio. Instead of listening to radio, I'll talk. Maybe I'll talk for 5 minutes. Maybe I'll talk for 7. Maybe I'll talk for 15. And then when he got to the office, it's like a 3-second upload. You know that with Buzzspread, it's like 3-second upload, little bit of detail, bang, and there's his podcast. So when we're adding these things into our life, it's important that they seamlessly integrate with what we're already doing. Because that's where I think a lot of us fail at our desires or our goals, right? Like the perfect example would be going to the gym. Somebody says, it doesn't even have to be New Year's resolution. Like, you know what? I'm going to start going to the gym after work. And to me, after work does not fit into your regular routine, because in our business, work could end at 5 o'clock. It could end at 6 o'clock. Sometimes it can end at 7 o'clock. Sometimes you're so beaten up from the day, you don't even realize it. For me anyways, when I started at the gym, it was mornings. Like the first thing I do in the morning. So I got an hour less sleep in order to go to the gym. And to me, that was the way to seamlessly integrate it into my schedule. Some people I know, a friend of mine at the old office I worked at, he wanted to start getting exercise. So what he did is he decided he's going to walk for his lunch hour. So at noon every day, he picked up his cell phone. He just left the office and went for a walk. That's integrated into his schedule because he's already at the office. He has an hour lunch. You know what I mean? All these kind of things add.
And you know what? They're just stacking these, right? And that's one thing that is a big component from Atomic Habits. It's like stacking it, right? Like you're gonna do something. You're gonna brush your teeth, like Lisa mentioned. Like she's gonna floss teeth, right? So do it before you brush your teeth. You know, it's gonna come second nature. It's all about really stacking. And I love that you're bringing this up because it's nothing new. You know, this is something that like you mentioned, you talked, this was years ago in corporate, but these are strategies that are kind of just getting moved on and forward. And like Jeff, like what you've kind of seen for yourself that's kind of worked and like basically adding, or even for you guys, I'll ask you guys this question. Do you guys even remove habits from like the last month or the previous month that just didn't work for you guys?
Well, it all depends on what habit you're talking about. You know, you could create a habit that's really not working and you do it every single day and you're like, nah, you know what? Let's get rid of this. Let's create a new habit and continue that next month or even the next day. You don't have to wait for a new month to start something new. But I look at it as, you know, every day I start my day off with a smile every day. That's a habit. I wake up and I'm glad I woke up. I smile and I set my mindset to be positive. You know, I remove that toxicity, that negativity and everything. I look at life as like a pyramid, you know, and I wrote this down. Some people see a pyramid like this, right? Well, I see it differently, right? I see it like this. And the reason is that there's a pinnacle, right? At the top of a pyramid, there's a point. And at that point, you're kind of like, okay, I've met my goals and objectives. But if you look at it this way, instead of going this way, you expand your horizon, you expand more things that you need to create in not just your business, but your personal life, to make you a better person. Because if you start really defining everything, so close, like you need to get right there. You know, this is the point. This is the pinnacle in my life, in my business, and my personal life as well. I've reached it. But no, if you turn that around and you just be so broad and you keep on writing those things. That's why I keep on saying there's no finish line in the logistics industry. There really isn't when you think of it. There's just so many different routes that you can take within it. It just all depends on what you want to do. If you're happy where you are and you're just like you talked about slow living before we got on, right, in the back room, you know, if people want to get into that comfort zone and stay there and just be whatever they want to be for that moment for the rest of their life, that's fine. That's a life choice, right? But for those high performance people, they never get to those points. They're always looking and creating new and better things for them in order to get to even bigger and better goals. So you're not going to do that by just, you know, staying with the norm. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, that's the way that I look at it. I never stay in the norm. Every day is different.
And there's also a point. It's just like leveling up your skill when you level up your business and when you level up your life.
That's all
habits that served us a year ago, 6 months ago, don't serve us now.
No.
And it's just the way the evolution of us as sales reps, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as people, right? We move. Some stay stagnant, some go down, some move up. And if you make the choice to move up, it's a matter of consistently raising the bar. And even as simple as that call didn't go so well. Why didn't it go so well? When they said this, I said this. What should I have said? And I've always said, if you want a lesson in like just like stickiness, and if you want a lesson in perseverance, write and that answer out and read it 100 times straight, like without 10 times and then going to get a coffee and come back. Like, what did they say? What did I say? What could I have said to make it better? This is your new rebuttal, and read it. And it's called a sales audible. And do that at all times in your life. Do that with every part of your life. Like, I have a weekly life audible. I have a weekly sales audible. I have a weekly business audible. And I take the time every Sunday to sit down and say, I rate myself on my personal life, on my business life and everything every Sunday. And a lot of Sundays I sit back and I go, whoa, I thought I was rocking it this week, but holy shit, I sucked at family life this week. Because you got to be honest with yourself, right? Like no true transformation or no true growth comes unless we're honest. And it's just like golf. You don't get better at golf until you're honest about your scores. And you don't win when you lie in this situation, or when you try and tell yourself something that's not accurate. Like, you ask yourself, did I do this right? 1 to 10. Did I do this right? 1 to 10. Did I spend enough time with my spouse? 1 to 10. Did we have great conversation? 1 to 10, or are we just like zombies staring at a TV? And then when you get those answers, it's, well, what am I going to change next week? Like let's forget about beginning of the month. What am I going to change now? Right. Because I've said this for eons. It's the application of the information that changes us. You hear a great quote and you're like, oh my God, that quote is so inspirational. What are you going to do now to make that quote worthwhile? What are you going to do now? That quote inspired you to do what? To sit here and have a dopamine drip for 3 minutes and go, that was awesome. Okay, I'm going to go back to screwing the pooch. No, what did it do? What did it bring out inside of you to make that change? And then now, do it now, and do it over and over and over again. We talked about habits a couple of weeks ago, I think, where we were saying, what chicken before the egg, or whatever, however we phrased it. I forget that, but it goes back to that. What do you want to do? Because here's the thing. In life, in business, we have to invest. I used to say sacrifice, but I don't believe it's sacrifice. I don't believe there's ever a sacrifice if you're trying to be better and do more and achieve more. I think it's an investment. And the way I look at it is, okay, do I have to invest an hour in business tonight that would normally be family time in order to accomplish X, hypothetically? Okay, I do. So I'll say, honey, I got to get this done. It's going to be like an hour. I'm going to put on a timer, and I got my time thing there. I flip my sand clock there. I flip it, and I say it'll be an hour. But maybe we can, when I'm done, go get a coffee or like do something other than what we did. So you're like flip-flopping all the time because you got a big proposal due. Hey, you guys have been there. It might take up some of your family time. That's just what it is. No matter how conscious we are about it, if we have something due that's for the benefit of our business, our career, and ultimately our family, we have to find the time to do it. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would wait till the family went to bed, and I'd stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning working, trying to not, trying to not use up that family time when the kids were younger, but put them to bed, and my wife would go to bed, and then I'd sit at the computer and I'd work, and there'd be mornings my wife would come in and I sleep at the computer because I'm trying to build a business, you know what I mean? And it's difficult. It really is difficult, but we got to do it sometimes. And it's, I don't know, I think it's a matter of really formulating like where you're at and what needs work. But I don't know if every month, I think it's too long. Because I think if you're neglecting something, whether it be in your business or whatever, I want to know within like 48 hours.
Well, I disagree with I agree with some of the points, but I disagree with it in terms of like the month, because I think like, okay, so as a sales rep, we get our numbers, right? We get our numbers, and we should know our numbers going forward, and we make those little tweaks in before there. But if let's say you're not at 75% of your monthly goal by like week 2, you're not going to come off desperate, right? You're probably going to put in more activity, but you're not going to like go back to customers and kind of just be so like commission breath, right? And kind of go for that. But I think like the new month, and like you're kind of talking about like the family life, I think in terms of like for me personally, like I don't sacrifice that. My family life is number one, and it's based on my goals. If this makes sense, I base my business goals around my family life and what I want, right? Because he said like you mentioned you put the kids to sleep and go to bed at 3 o'clock, but for me, Dan, 8 hours for me of sleep is non-negotiable.